and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and I make lifestyle videos here on YouTube. Today's video is going to be all about cutting costs when it comes to your wedding and saving money. I wanted to be able to have one resource, one video that everyone could reference, and all the tips would be in that video. So basically, I'm going to be giving you all 10 tips on how to save money and cut costs when it comes to your wedding. And the first tip that I have is your DJ. You do not need a DJ. And I hate to say that because I know that there are a lot of people out there that are DJs that do a really good job. But if you're trying to save money and cut costs and you don't have the luxury of having everything, cutting the DJ is so easy and you're not going to really miss out on much. So for me, for my wedding, what I did was I paid one of my friends who I knew was super tech savvy. I just paid him. He didn't require me to pay him, but I gave him just like a little bit of money to kind of thank him for doing it. And all I did was my sister, who was my maid of honor, created like a little playlist. He had some of his own playlists, and Tyler's family actually got these speakers, so they borrowed it from a church, and it was super easy. We didn't have a glitch, like nothing bad happened. We set it up the night before, we did a run through, we made sure that it worked, and then my DJ got there a little bit earlier and kind of set his stuff up and made sure it worked as well. We had a mic and he was comfortable with announcing us and stuff. So when it comes to a DJ, I know that in my area, it was upwards of $700 for a DJ. That was a cost that was so helpful, and I was able to use that in other ways that I wanted to. So that is definitely simple. If you don't have someone that you know that is good at that or would want to do that, you can literally just make a Spotify account, hook up your iPod, and play it. I know, like, you could probably buy a speaker system for less than you would for paying an actual DJ. So there are definitely different resources and options out there. So just, if you're needing to cut costs, just look into those, because that is definitely a big one you can cut. Tip number 2, and it's probably the biggest tip or the highest saving tip that I have, and that is to negotiate your venue. So if you are trying to find, the biggest thing is you need to research a ton of different venues. You need to know what you want going into it, and you need to get quotes from multiple different venues. Also, if you know that venue has that day open and they haven't booked it, they might offer you a bigger discount. So I think that's very important. You don't have to pay what the contract says. Like, you can negotiate, you can make a better deal for yourself. And luckily that happened for us, kind of unknowingly, but I'm so thankful that it ended up working out the way that it did, and I'm glad that I can tell you all that that is an option. So don't just settle for this crazy amount. Also, a tip that goes along with this, I have heard of people doing like Airbnbs or home away from home, was that what it's called? Or even Vrbo. So if you're not familiar with those are usually travel things. So if you're traveling out of the state, you want to rent a house, it's basically people like you and me putting our houses up for rent for a vacation. And some people have actually used that for wedding venues. So you could rent out like a mansion or something like that for the day, and it could end up being cheaper than an actual venue. But of course, you're gonna have to talk to the venue people. There could be some insurance issues and stuff like that, or maybe you just have to purchase your own insurance policy, but that's definitely an option as well. Also, you could look into your friends and families. Look within your network. If maybe you're planning a wedding like kind of late, like all of a sudden, or if you're just like a couple months out and you're just wanting to hurry up and get married, look into your friends and family. You're within your network. There might be people that have a farm or have a business that they would let you use their room or space for. So just definitely be open to different options, and in the long run, it could save you a lot of money, especially when it comes to the venue. Number 3 is also could be a huge money saver. And I know that this is a little bit controversial for some people. I have talked about this in previous videos, but Tyler and I chose to not have alcohol at our wedding. That was a huge money saver for us. Now, there's different ways that you can do having alcohol, but for us, when you do contract with a venue, sometimes it's limited. If they have their own bar, their own alcohol, they might require you to purchase the alcohol within their facility. So if alcohol is something that is key for you, that you have to have, you're not going to budge on, I would say look into your venue first, because you could purchase your own kegs and your own alcohol for a lot cheaper, and not have to pay like a bartender fee and stuff like that. There's different ways to do it, but for us it just wasn't an option. That was one thing that I didn't personally have to have. Tyler didn't personally have to have, and the beauty of it was that our venue was like over top of a restaurant. The restaurant was kind of part of the venue, so there was a bar down there. If people wanted to get drinks, they went down there and got their own drinks. So to me, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was there if you wanted it. I don't think that I should have to pay for you to get drunk or you to have a high, just so you will come to my wedding. I think that that's just something that in the beginning I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to have alcohol or nobody will dance, nobody will have fun, nobody will stay. I was even told that by multiple people in the wedding industry. And so, but I think that our wedding definitely defied those odds, and there were a lot of people that danced. People had fun. The people that I wanted to be there and dance with me stayed. They were there. So don't think that you have to spend thousands of dollars on alcohol for other people to get high on your penny. This is something that can cut cost. It's not like a huge money saver, but something that you can just cut costs a little bit on, and that is by doing your own hair and makeup. I mean, there are probably, I know there's like thousands and thousands of videos of tutorials of how to do your makeup and how to do your hair, but I know that makeup sort of is an artistry. Like, everyone can't do it. It is a technique. It is a skill set. But there are a lot of people that I know personally that are great at makeup, are great at hair. And so reaching out to your friends, people, maybe they're not even like your close friends, but people that you know that are really good, it's not like you're gonna have to pay like a professional and like pay for every one of your bridesmaids. I've actually seen a lot of people do, give the option to their bridesmaids. If you want to, like, this is how much it's gonna cost, but I'm not gonna pay for it. Like, a lot of people do that, and I think that that's fine, especially if you're on a tight budget. My fifth tip is researching your vendors. Compare prices. Don't suffer quality, but I think you can still find quality vendors for better prices. So if you want to do videography and you see all of these production companies that are freaking expensive, upwards of $3,000 to $4,000 for a wedding for one day, like, that's crazy. In my mind, $3,000 is a lot. I know it's an investment and I know it's wonderful to have, but some people just cannot afford that. But there are other production companies, other solo videographers out there that could do an amazing job for half the cost. So it's all about what you want. For me, video was very, very important, and I was able to find a quality videographer for a wonderful price, and now I have some of the best memories. I have the best memories saved that I can watch and go back on, and to me, videography was a must-have. If you're planning a budget wedding, if you want gorgeous flowers, you might want to find somebody who is solo, who doesn't do it in a brick and mortar, who doesn't have their own shop. Usually they're going to be a little bit cheaper. I think that was a tip I got actually from my director, and it proved to be true. Like, it was cheaper to go with somebody who didn't have a store, because obviously their overhead and stuff like that is going to be a lot more expensive, so their services are probably going to be more expensive. So that's just another tip. Number 6 is prioritize. I am gonna be honest, I kind of hated when people said that. Prioritize, you can't have everything. But you know, I think you can have everything, but you have to prioritize what you're gonna spend the most money on, so the highest quality. I think if you look at it by quality standpoint, so I might really want high quality videography and photography, but I don't have to have like the best food ever. Like I can have a simple menu. So I think it's just about prioritizing but still getting what you want. You just need to be creative and find ways to do it that are cheaper. So I think it's just really important to kind of sit back, be creative, and really use your networks. Use the people that you know, and I really think you can have almost everything you want. So the next tip kind of goes along with that, and that is to let your friends and family help only if they're not in the wedding. So if you have friends that are good at videography, or if you have good friends that are good at photography, or if they're good at hair and makeup, like I mentioned, let them help you. It's going to be a lot cheaper, and if they're good, why wouldn't you? So I think just letting people who want to help, but make sure that they're not in the wedding party. My photographer was in the wedding party, but she did fine because that's like what she does like professionally, but she also had a second shooter. It made it a lot easier, I think, for everyone. So that was a little bit different, but I wouldn't say like have your maid of honor decorating the day of. Like it just doesn't work in my opinion. Or having your mother do the flowers. It's just too much stress, and everybody just wants to enjoy themselves. So I think you need to decide, like, they're either going to be in the wedding party or they're going to do their job. So I know that's kind of harsh, but it's honestly very, very important. I have seen many weddings just last summer that I worked at that their maid of honor was supposed to decorate, but she was also had to get ready, and she also had to do all this other stuff. So people on the venue side were having to make up for it, but they didn't know exactly what the bride wanted, so they just had to wing it. And I think for me, it was so important to have the things that I wanted done correctly, how I wanted them done. And I think if you don't have a good plan, or you have people that are having to do other things, other people will have to pick up the slack, or they won't, and then you'll have something that isn't what you planned or what you really wanted. The next one is DIY. So one thing that's standing out in my mind is the programs for my wedding were totally DIY. I did them in like a software program on my computer. I got them printed out at the UPS store, and that was my DIY, and it was so much more affordable, I think, than actually purchasing them through a company. There's so many things that you can DIY and just save so much money, whether it's decorations, invitations, because let me tell you, invitations get super expensive, so that's another option. So just DIY everything that you can. And my next one that goes in with that, Etsy. Etsy is a beautiful place of creators who make things handmade, great quality, wonderful prices, and the world of wedding and purchasing things for weddings in general on Etsy is great because there's so many different wedding vendors on there, and you can really get good deals and amazing things. For me, my Etsy like golden moment was my veil. My veil was amazing, and it was from Etsy, and it was exactly what I wanted, and I can link that down below if you would like to see that. But there's just so many great shops on there that can make you quality things without it having to be designer prices or anything like that. My 10th and last tip is just to be simple with your decor. I know for me, flowers and decor were the main things that I focused on because I feel like I'm very design related, and I'm all about the little details, and for me, those things were very, very important. But that being said, I think I did it in a way that was beautiful, simple, and affordable. I think people can go overboard or very kind of gaudy in a way, but if gaudy is your style, then whatever. But I think that you can overdo it when it comes to decor, and that's where a lot of your money can just be thrown away that you could use for your honeymoon, or you could use for other things. So I think just keeping your decor simple, you don't have to spend a lot of money to make it look good. I had antique candlesticks that I had already had before. Loved them. I went to antique shops, to flea markets, and I found them for very affordable prices. And then I was very strategic with my flowers. So on certain tables I had actual centerpieces, and then on other tables I just did greenery around the candlesticks. Saved me tons of money and it looked beautiful. My wedding was romantic and airy, and it was just perfect in my opinion. And honestly, I didn't really spend that much on my wedding compared to like the national average and what people spend. My wedding was very affordable, and I personally think it was very beautiful for what it was. So those were my 10 tips. I hope that they were helpful for you. I hope that your wedding planning journey is going great and smooth. I hope that all of my videos here in this wedding series are helping you and guiding you along the way. I'm trying to keep thinking of things or videos to make for you all that I think would be helpful if I were planning mine over again. So I'm trying to think of different things, but if you all have anything in particular that you would like me to talk about when it comes to event planning or weddings, be sure to leave it in the comments below, because I would love to address it for you. Weddings and event planning, something that I enjoy doing. So yeah, I would love to provide any other feedback or ideas for you all. But thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. I would love to have you here on my channel. I post weekly, so be sure to check back here. And thank you all again so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.